So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to start, scale, and operate a digital marketing agency in 2024. This is going to be an all-inclusive tutorial showing you 6 different steps of this process of growing an agency, getting off the ground, getting your first client, and everything else that you need to know about digital marketing agencies. All right, so there's a lot we can discuss in this video. A couple of things that we need to get out of the way immediately is, first of all, I don't have a course to sell you, so you don't have to worry about this being like some massive sales pitch to get you into some program. This is all free information, and you can use this information to scale your own agency. I'm a true believer in free info. There's so much of it out there, and I really hope that in this video, you can get just a couple of gold nuggets, maybe just something I might say at minute 32 that I'm going to say that you're going to say, wow, this is incredible. I'm going to take this info. It's going to make me thousands of dollars. That's my goal here with this video here today. Okay. So let's talk about the 6 different sections that we're getting into in this video, and feel free to take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, jot down some notes as we go through here, because it is going to be a lot of info. I don't want to overwhelm you, but let's go over the review of what we're talking about here today. First of all, we're talking about goals and expectations. How much can you reasonably expect to make with a marketing agency this year? What about 12 months from now? What about 2 years from now? What are some obstacles in there as well? And then we're talking about, how much is it going to cost you to set up? Hint, it's pretty much free to start an agency. That's why I love starting agencies. And then in section number 2, we're looking at the different types of marketing that you could potentially excel in and create services for. There's about close to a dozen different types of marketing that we'll discuss, and it's going to help you to identify which field you would like to create an agency in. Then in section number 3, this is one that's really important because a lot of people, this is what stops them, is how do you actually become an expert in the field of marketing? This is a big hurdle for many people. They say, well, I want to start an agency, but I don't know how to do marketing. So how am I going to do this? We'll cover that in section number 3. Then we're going to talk about some really important tools for running an agency. There's 4 or 5 different tools that are super, super helpful for running an agency, streamlining the process. And I'm going to leave links to all those tools down below in the description. If you want to just kind of skim through them and check some of them out, they will be down there. Then in section number 4, we're talking about how to identify target clients. Should you be selling your services to doctors or to lawyers or to big corporations or the ice cream shop down the street? I'm going to help you to identify target clients based on the types of services that you are offering. Then in section number 5, we're talking about building your team. So who should you hire? Who should you partner with? This is a really big hurdle, especially for Mike and I when we launched our agency years ago, was who do we hire and how do we hire them and how do we manage them? It's very, very difficult to kind of get into that. It's just a big headache that we've had, especially in the first couple of years of doing that properly. So hopefully I'm going to save you a lot of headache in that section. And then in section number 6, we're talking about getting clients and growth strategy. How do you get to $1,000 a month? And then how do you get to $10,000 a month or scale it even further than that? And we're talking about that in that section specifically on getting clients and setting things up and making sure that your contracts are set up properly and everything else in section number 6. Okay. So without any further ado, let's get into this. Let's start off with setting goals and expectations for your marketing agency. Now, first of all, why marketing? Why running an agency? What's the point of this? There's probably 1,000 different business ideas that you could potentially run with this year in 2024, or maybe you're watching this in 2025. So why an agency? The reason why I think this is the best or one of the top 3 businesses that you could potentially start this year is because there's really no cost up front to get this started. So service-based businesses are wonderful for this. If you're starting an e-commerce brand, which, we have equity in a bunch of brands, but that's a very capital intensive. Like you need a lot of money up front to go and start like selling physical products. It's expensive, but with a marketing agency, there's really no cost besides just using your brain, going out, finding customers and selling those services. And another beauty of an agency is that it's really up to you on how much you can make in this field. And I say that because I know a lot of people who do this very much part-time. And this is how kind of we started out way back in the day, many, many years ago, is pretty much part-time. I was in college. And so you could do this 10 hours a week and you can make a couple $1,000s a month, or you could take this very seriously, scale it up, do it full-time, and make tens of thousands of dollars per month. So it's really up to you on how much you make for agencies and how much time you have on your hands. Now, of course, I can't promise you that you're going to make millions of dollars from this, because truth is most people are going to watch this and not act on it and probably not going to make money because they're just, going to do other things. And that's understandable. But my hope is that some people can watch this and take it and run with it. So in terms of goals and expectations, it really is up to you on how much you can make. And in terms of how much it's going to cost you, pretty much free. There is some software that is very, very useful. And for example, if you want to set up an LLC for your company, then you're going to want to use something like Northwest. This is how we set up our LLCs. Basically just legitimizes your company. So instead of you just running around having people paying you personally, you can create a formal company, a limited liability company using Northwest. It's like $39 plus some state fees. So I'll show you just how easy it is to do this. But I would recommend everyone go and set up an LLC now. It's like the first step of creating an agency. So you just go to Northwest. I'll leave a link to them down below in the description. And then the state in which I am based is Pennsylvania. And so I'll just click on that, and then I will start my LLC. They'll help through this process of creating it. I'll enter a business name and everything else, and they'll just walk through the process there. So I'll leave a link to them down below. It's an affiliate link. It helps support the channel. And now there's one other question that you're going to have to answer for yourself here when you are starting this agency is, who are you creating this with? Are you doing this on your own? Are you building this company with a friend of yours, a business partner? You need to really think heavily about this, because my first business that I ever started, the person that I decided to work with was my friend. We went 50-50 on the business, and it didn't work out because we were very much not aligned. We were friends, and it ruined our friendship. We're not friends anymore because my vision for taking the company in a certain direction was much different than his. He didn't really want to work, and so I ended up working a lot, and he was kind of just like weighing things down and wasn't working, but still getting 50% of the profits. And so be very careful of who you decide to partner with. I always recommend starting this company on your own, and then you can always bring in someone else later on, further down the road. If you're scaling up and you really think it's a great opportunity, you can bring someone else on as like a minority equity partner in the company. But I really do recommend starting this on your own, or starting this company with someone that you absolutely trust and very much are aligned with on business. So for myself, that's my brother Mike. We do everything together because we think very similarly. I don't think we've ever argued ever in our lives. And so because of that, we're great business partners, but just be very careful who you pick as a business partner. When in doubt, do it on your own. You can add people into the mix later. You don't want to have a headache of having like 4 different co-founders on the company. Trust me. That's for setting goals and expectations. Let's get into the next section here where we're talking about the different types of marketing that you could excel in and which field should you look at. So let me just list off a couple of different options for marketing, because what I don't want you to do is go out and try to be what we call a jack of all trades, where in your first marketing agency, you try to sell a dozen different services and you basically end up half-assing all of them and not being an expert in any one of those fields. So what you want to do is obsess over one specific field and become the best at that. Sell that as a service. And then later on down the road, you can add other services. And I'll show you how to do that later in this video. But here's some different fields that are very, very profitable in the marketing industry. Okay. So the first one that a lot of people think of is social media. So social media marketing, running accounts for businesses. This could be running their TikTok accounts, their Instagram accounts, their Facebook page, anything along those lines. This is a pretty straightforward business. It's also pretty competitive because there's a lot of people who offer to do that for businesses in your local area or any other type of companies. But it's one that's pretty straightforward, and most people can do this without a lot of training. And so that's beneficial to you, that you don't have to spend a lot of time learning how to create content. But also, like I said, there's gonna be a lot more competition with that as well. So social media marketing, basically getting clients. This could be, the local ice cream shop in your area. You have them on retainer for $500 a month, and you do a certain amount of posts for them per month, and you have packages and you run their accounts for them. I just made up that number there, 500. There's a lot of factors that go into the equation there. The other thing you could potentially do is paid ads. So paid ads is one that Mike and I really started with, and it's one that we found to be the most successful for us. Now, running paid ads for companies is something that not everyone can do, and that's why we liked it. Basically, you can charge retainer. You can also charge fees on top of, the amount of ad spend that you're running for the company. So if you're running $1 million a year in ads for the company, you can take a chunk of that ad spend for your services. Learning how to run paid ads can be a little bit of a learning curve. Luckily, we have videos on this channel showing you how to run ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, on LinkedIn. Like, we have all these different ads videos that you can watch and kind of get some of the basics of how to run ads. But that's a field that is really, really interesting. Another one is search engine optimization. So you could start an entire company helping other companies with something called SEO. And this is basically helping companies to rank at the top of Google or other platforms, rank #1 for certain terms. So like when someone goes onto Google and they type in plumber in Philadelphia, if you can help a company rank on Google #1 for plumber in Philadelphia, literally that Google term is worth thousands of dollars per month. And so you could charge them hundreds of dollars per month at a minimum just for that service alone for helping them rank on Google. So you can make a whole company out of that. Another one is something like email marketing. There are email marketing agencies that will help companies to run their email lists. You could do this once again for local businesses in your area. In one of the sections coming up, we'll talk about like potential clients and how to target them. But running email marketing is super profitable as an agency. So you could do this for influencers as well. You could run their newsletter. There's a lot of different routes you could take with this on email marketing, but basically becoming an expert in that field of email, running drip campaigns, lead magnets. There's a lot that you could go into there with that. Another type of agency is something focused on web development. So if you understand how to build websites or design websites, everyone needs a website, including you, for your own agency. And so if that's a skill that you have, this can be very profitable. Other things, public relations, right? A lot of influencers, a lot of famous people, they have PR teams. They pay them quite a bit of money for PR. We have graphic design. This is a field that I'm not very well skilled in, is graphic design, but there are design agencies. Think about any product that you've ever purchased. It was probably drafted up by a design agency. So think about like Logan Paul with Prime, right? This drink that he launched a few years ago. I'm sure a design agency made a lot of money designing the bottle, designing the logo, everything else, and all the art around it. And that was an agency that I'm sure they hired for many, many thousands of dollars, at least tens of thousands, I would assume, for that service. And then the other area of marketing that you can go into, which is probably my favorite, is going to be specifically studying an algorithm, a specific algorithm for social platforms. So for example, I know a guy who obsessed over the YouTube algorithm. He understood everything there is to know about what makes a YouTube video go viral. And then because he was the guy and he just like lived and breathed YouTube every day, 12 hours a day, studied the YouTube algorithm and figured out what makes a great video. Now, massive companies pay him tons of money, like tens of thousands of dollars per month, for his advice on YouTube and how to make thumbnails and how to create viral videos. Even people like Mr. Beast go to this guy for advice. I shouldn't name his name, but they go to him for advice on how to create really great videos. And that's because he just focused on one specific thing. So what I want you to take away from this section here is that pick one of these, and there are other avenues as well. You could even do like physical mail marketing. Like there's a lot of different types of marketing, but pick one from this list or from some other lists you can search on Google and find one that you really think you have some potential to understand and to be pretty decent at, and then spend all of your time obsessing over that one field, okay? And I can't tell you which one that you should do because it's going to be different for everyone, but you should know yourself personally. Like I said, design is not really my thing, so that's why we didn't really spend a lot of time trying to sell design services, but instead I focused more on running paid ads for people because that's just the way my brain works. I like numbers, I like stats, and so it was easier for me to do something like ads than it was to do something like graphic design or PR for other companies. That's a pretty important section there. Just please don't try to be a jack of all trades. Focus on one, and then you can always outsource and add services later. If let's say that you focus on becoming a website agency where you build websites for clients, and then one of your clients while you're building the site says, hey, also, can you run paid ads for me? Well, if that's not really your field, then I would suggest either selling that as a lead to another marketing agency or